Millions of people play golf. Most of them have never broken 100. Less than 1% are scratch. And even fewer can hope to make it on tour. Ability alone is no guarantee for success. There are many obstacles: money, time, family, or just the nerve to risk it all. For every success story, there are countless others, toiling in obscurity, searching for a break. The Big Break offers the chance of a lifetime. 4 exemptions to professional events that will be televised on the Golf Channel. A crack at big money and international exposure. But it will not be easy. Through a series of challenges, the competitors will have to hit all the shots needed to make it on tour. Troubleshooter Rick Smith will be on hand to help. But if they perform poorly, they are gone. Each week, one person will be eliminated until there's just one man standing. The Golf Channel set out to find 10 golfers that felt they were ready to compete at the highest level. The applications rolled in, and they all had a story. Amateurs, professionals, men and women alike, united by one goal: to finally get their big break. The 10 competitors knew there were 4 Canadian Tour exemptions at stake, but they didn't know what they'd have to do to win them.
But on the plane ride, it was a mix of sleep and trying to guess what was going to be going on. Are we going to be playing? Are we going to be, just hitting sand shots, flop shots over trees? We have no ideas.
When I got picked, he was on the road. I was afraid to call him. I didn't want to be like, hey, I got picked. Did you get picked? And find out he didn't. And then he had called me. It was great. We both made it, so it worked out pretty well. I think it was nice being the first guys in there because we got to see everybody come in and get a pretty full story from everybody.
Hi, I'm Quick Call. Craig, nice to meet you.
Justin Peters.
Justin, nice to meet you. Nice to meet you.
All you have to do is win the big break, and you're going to be given 4 chances to play on the Canadian Tour without any entry fees, without any pressure of just going out and playing your game against the best in the world. Like I said, you can't put a value on that.
This is a good way to get started.
Yell at me.
Yeah. Come on, baby. Come out of there. Hey, am I the only one here? There's a whole bunch of other people. Now, I love being on the camera. Now, hello there. Your life can be filled with romance and glitter.
Charles Calhoun, nice to meet you.
As soon as I walked in the room, I was hoping that everybody was in there because I wanted to be the last one to come in. I wanted to see who the guys were and what the competition was going to be about and who I've got to beat, plain and simple.
Charles Calhoun, John Roddy.
And I think I have the talent to play week in, week out on tour. Those spots would be huge because you can A, get yourself on TV, B, get that experience. And that's really what you need.
24/7, where it's at.
I think the younger guys, this is their really maybe their first big chance ever. And, it's a little different for me that, this is maybe my last shot ever. So it's not only the big break, it's the last break.
I can tell you this joke, it probably get bleeped off anyway, but...
It's kind of weird telling jokes when you first meet somebody because you don't know what the crowd's like. I thought that was a little risque.
My old friends, I can say what I want to them. They know nothing's personal.
bags are going to be way down on the end here.
Okay. I'm kind of laid back. I'm kind of a leery kind of guy until I know what's going on. And I think, you know, if, like I said, if it's just golf, I got a great shot of winning. So. They're all here and they're all safe. But if it's something that's other than golf and, you know, hitting golf balls and snowshoes or something like that, you know, it's anybody's ball game. How y'all doing? How you doing, bro?
And I do mean 24/7.
Had no idea what to expect. A lot of the guys flew in before me, and I was the one that walked in the door. So I opened the door, like boom, camera on you. It was, yeah, I really wasn't ready for that. I honestly thought we'd walk in and there'd be like, you know, a pamphlet of information to be going through. So you know, it was a bit of a shock.
So anyway, I went to my doctor. He saw my feet. He's like, man,
Come on in.
uh-oh, you got it.
You know, it'd be nice to win this. You can't go into a golf tournament trying to win on the first day. So, and this even makes it more difficult, just trying to stay alive. So, yeah, just I'm curious to hear what's going to happen.
You must be the young guy of the bunch.
I'm pretty young.
Oh, okay.
I'm Anthony.
You're Anthony.
Nice
How are you?
I'm the old guy of the bunch.
I mean, there's a lot of old guys. Not dogging them, but I'm just saying, a lot of old guys.
You know, golf is a game that, you know, you may look 50, you play like 20. So, I mean, it's, we'll just see when we get to the first competition.
The moment of truth.
What are you expecting?
I have no idea. You guys won't talk to me. I told my wife, I said, I'm not going to eat any bugs. I'm not going to be jumping and trying to hit a golf ball at the same time, I hope. I'm here. Finally. I was the last one to walk in. I didn't know what to expect. And I mean, everybody's just sitting around talking like they've known each other all their life. And I'm, uh-oh, what's going on here?
How you doing? I'm scared to death.
Uh-oh, you scared? I don't know. What have I gotten into? Where you from? Well, let's see, Atlanta.
We got a chance to meet all the guys, and we sat down and had like a little lunch at the table. And we all have aspirations, either playing on tour. So it's pretty easy when we talk about golf because everyone kind of can get a feel for each other.
There's no physical way that you can't, that driver's not hot.
And I love arguing, and I just like talking about it. It's cool.
You got Charles. He's a real likable guy. Got a story about everything. He's fun to listen to.
And the comedian, I think his name is Mark. Mark's definitely a comedian of the group.
This isn't the finalist for The Bachelor.
He's good. He had everyone kind of giggling a little bit.
We had a couple of joke tellers.
I can tell you this joke. It probably gets bleeped off anyway, but.
You know, it's kind of weird telling jokes when you first meet somebody because you don't know what the crowd's like. I thought that was a little risque.
You know, my old friends, I can say what I want to them. They know nothing's personal.
But then again, you may not hang around that long, so you might as well get it done.
We have a bus out front. Just grab your luggage.
Yes.
Well, some of you strong kids help me here with these bags. I'm old, I can't carry my own stuff. Come on now, let's go, a little help.
That's your bag.
Thank you. So we all got on the bus, and I think it was a team effort to get all our luggage on there. Once we did that, I think we just kind of paired up and kind of went in their own little areas. Everybody kind of gravitates to one another.
Really, we got a chance to really get a chance to know each other on the bus. You really can't know too much about each other on the first day, but just kind of get a feel of what's going on in the atmosphere.
Do you think in his head he thinks he's in a slump a little bit?
It's good to have 10 guys you've never met before, and it kind of killed the 4.5 hours to ride up here.
Down here. You got your venison, you got your hot elk, and you got your smoked buffalo.
The road is what got me because we went from a regular road to a dirt road.
Holy.
Yeah, I'm looking for the guy playing the banjo with the Deliverance theme song. I was getting a bit nervous.
We had no idea what the accommodations would be. Everybody's asking all day, what's the accommodations like? Oh my God. We were pretty surprised to see it, to be honest. Tee to green, I'm realistic. I don't think anybody matches my game. I was just entering school when, you know, Player and Palmer and Hogan were really dominating the tours.
Not bad for an old guy.
A little thing called Vietnam cropped up, so I spent nearly 4 years in the Army, then got out and moved to California. I started working full-time. Up until the last 2 years, I was a divisional sales manager for a company. I think I can play competitively for another 8-10 years because right now I'm as good a shape as probably anybody my age. This is probably maybe my last chance, so it's kind of exciting to get the opportunity.
Thank you.
Welcome, and welcome to your big break. Well, one of you is going to have a big break, and one of you is going to go home soon. I'm Catherine. I'm going to be with you this whole week, and I'm just thrilled that you're here. I know you're probably really tired. You've had a long trip, although you look pretty energized.
Absolutely, yeah.
Ready?
Play some golf.
Okay. Well, anyway, we've got the bunkhouse here, and this is where you're going to be staying. And what I'd like you to do right now is just grab your stuff, your clubs and your bags, and find your name and find your roommate, get to know him a little bit, and I'll meet you for the barbecue.
Hey, buddy.
What's going on, man?
Where's the air conditioner?
Yeah, I hear you.
And I mean, it was like, okay, where are we going? Oh, we're gonna have air conditioning, we're gonna have running water.
Yeah, it's great. I got running water. I'm 20-year retiree from the Army as a drill sergeant. This is like the Hilton compared to what I was used to.
All right.
Shower works.
You ever stay in a place like this?
Never like this.
This is gonna be different. Come on in.
We got a Sony flat screen, bro.
Oh, they got Bagger, man. We gotta watch that tonight.
61. Rocky. Where's Philly?
Yeah,
Where'd
Rocky.
Philly go?
Oh, we got Philly boy here.
I was just glad it's not a tent. Just really glad it's not a tent.
Not what we expected, but pretty funny.
I just threw my stuff on the bed, and then if you wanted to fight over it, I'd been more than happy to switch with him. I didn't think it really mattered.
He jumped on the one closest to the fan, which is my kind of favorite, but there's 2 fans in that room, so I'll find a way to hook one up near my bed too, so that's no, I don't think there'll be any problem. You know, it's kind of tough when you don't know somebody to go in a room with them, but I think we'll work it out. If there is any problem, we'll work it out.
One's not a water bed, and the other, you know, a nasty mattress, so it's fine.
Hey, listen, there ain't no bunk beds and ain't none of that touchy-feely stuff.
No cuddling, no cuddling.
Hey, look, I'm doing the cooking. You know, Calhoun's got this certain thing about Chef Boyardee, and
Charles has the highest energy level and the most to say I've ever seen in a human being.
make sure that said Charles on the door. Yeah, I'm gonna drive y'all crazy. Oh yeah, this is us, this is us. All right, I'm back in the house.
I think Charles has made his stamp on the guy that's going to talk the most, and I think he's a very funny guy.
Oh, we get to sleep beside each other. Oh, ain't that sexy?
Charles is a talker, definitely a talker. He likes to chat, and I just hope he's not chatting my backswing.
I was voted at my high school most talkative. To me, there is a spiritual side to the game of golf. It's you. It's you against yourself. And there is no greater battle in this world than you against yourself. I was the golf coach at Marietta College. A little small, little run-of-the-mill town, and they did away with the program there. That gives me all the time in the world to practice golf. And ultimately, I like to be a tour player. I love that life. Where most people get intimidated by the crowds, I need the crowds. I love them. Golf gives me that opportunity to be on that stage.
No, it's mine.
What we need is some hangers. There are no hangers here.
Well, for those of us who brought hangers, there are hangers here.
Well, can I have half of them?
And at $5 a piece, hangers can be had.
You got everything in?
Yeah.
I tell you what, the swing weight adds up big time though. The swing weight, I don't know what the swing is offhand without the
I
plate.
think it'd be a big seller with that.
Well, with the plate, it's
without the plate.
think there's a great mix of people here. There's the serious ones, there's standoffish ones. I think it's great.
You got these things little strapped up, huh?
They're 2 degrees strong.
You ain't lying.
I hit the ball so high, it makes it normal.
I think Garrett really wants to win. It's just the same as the rest of us. But I talk a lot. There's no doubt about that. But he's a different type of talker.
119 recently. That's pretty good speed for an old man. Damn. Just got checked on the little tiny one.
That's that X-Recon, what it is, huh?
That's right, 119. Not big speed for an old man, but
he's one of those barnyard hustlers. That's what I call him. You know, because he just sneaks around, and I don't know, maybe trying to get in your head a little bit.
About 290. It's about the average. Not bad.
290.
That's it, average. That's it.
58 years old. I hope I can even.
It's 297 at the last tournament up at Valencia, and 80% of the fairways, which was pretty good.
I didn't feel like I was trying to size anybody up or wondering if I can beat so-and-so, because you can do a lot of talking and you can say what you want, but when you get out there swinging a golf club, that's where the rubber meets the road, so to speak, and that's where it's going to be proven.
This is the first skills challenge, and this challenge is going to test your ability to hit a knockdown shot.
And pretty soon you just wonder, you know, what is it going to take for me to hit this? And you start panicking.
All right, here I am, my second home, according to my wife.
He really, truly loves it. It's always on TV. He's always reading about it. He's always talking about it. He loves golf. He really does.
You got it. Work, family, golf. All right, boys. Get on down there. And my children, Lucas and Dustin. Good shot. Right over my head.
They do enjoy going out with him.
And we have a little slicer there.
It's good time for the three of them to spend time alone.
All right. My wife and I, we were married in 1983, and we've just celebrated 20 years.
I just think the time's here for him to do what he wants to do. Life's too short, and this is a dream he has. He needs to pursue it. I think he can do it.
Boom! Bam! How about that, folks? How about that? I think I got up earlier than usual. I normally don't get out of bed. My wife, she has to kick, prod, do anything she can to get me out of bed, but this morning, man, I was up ready to go.
When that thing came today, we knew it was time for business. It was kind of cool.
He snored, but I was tired, so I figured something like that would happen.
You know I snore, so I was just, I was just hoping I didn't do it too loud, that I didn't scare him off.
I get one of the old guys, so hey, deal with it.
You know, it's hard to sleep the first night because you got to get up early. It's like going on an airplane. You got to get up early, and you got to get up, and you got to get up, so you don't sleep. That was a lifetime dream, is to become a professional golfer. I worked hard at it, did a lot of work at it, being a member of the PGA. Worked my way up to head professional a couple places, and how it started in radio is just an amazing thing. I was actually asked to be an advertiser on a golf show. So they came to me and they said, well, you're a professional golfer, you want to do the show? And I said, oh, how hard can it be? It's just like giving it a 1-hour lesson, only there's nobody going to be in front of you. From that point on, I was hooked on radio. Little did I know down the line that I would actually be successful in 2 careers and be able to pursue basically 2 dreams at the same time. I had game, there's no question about that, and if I really would have worked at it, there were possibilities there. Once you've played with really good players, it's always gnawing.
I think for a lot of these guys, this is going to be the biggest opportunity that ever comes along in their life.
We're looking at this as a future, because we're all trying to be professional golfers.
These exemptions are huge for all of us.
All right, you guys, well, welcome to the big break. How are you guys feeling?
Great.
Yeah? Psyched up, ready to go?
Yes.
Okay. Charles, your name came up a few times. We were talking about someone who's kind of been kind of chatty, having a good time while they're here. How you feeling?
I'm feeling good. I'm ready to get everything started.
Yeah?
Just have a good time. Get busy.
All right. As you might have noticed, Rick Smith, our host and instructor, is not here for this show. But that's because this is your first big break, okay? Now, it is intentional that Rick is not here because today, our gift to you is that no one will be eliminated on the show.
All right. Yeah.
Okay? Okay. Yeah. Woo! Okay.
Daniel Boone, baby.
But let me assure you that you will be relying on Rick's expertise at every skills challenge after that, because each show, one of you guys will be eliminated, okay? So if you are ready, we will get started. All right, let's go. Come on.
Fired up! Fired up!
We didn't know what to expect. You know, we all had some ideas, and when we finally were driving down the hill and we saw those, the red squares, it looked like about 10 squares, and as we got close enough, we could see the names on them. And we're like, this looks pretty cool.
Welcome to the first skills challenge. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I just like seeing my name out there.
This challenge is going to test your ability to hit a knockdown shot. In each one of these squares is a pane of glass. And your job is that when we sound the horn, you're going to tee up your ball and you're going to try to hit and break your pane of glass. The first person to break the pane of glass wins a mulligan. Okay? Now the mulligan is absolutely critical to the next challenge.
Here's how it works. The first person to break his glass or have it broken by another player wins the first crack at the upcoming prize challenge. He also wins the mulligan, which is worth another shot in that challenge. The last person to break his pane, well, he'll have to wait his turn as the 9 others try to steal the prize. In future shows, the prize challenge will become an elimination challenge. And for these guys, the mulligan could be the difference between survival and going home.
Look up.
You too, baby.
Let's do it. Feel like a champ.
Anybody can do a knockdown shot, but when you got a specifically like a 2 or a 3x3 area you got to hit it to that's 40, 50 yards out, that makes it a whole lot more difficult.
Naturally, it's a hard shot to hit.
And pretty soon you just wonder, what is it going to take for me to hit this? And you start panicking.
It's the second home, definitely. Here all the time. Mainly for golf, try to do a lot of cardio. Probably go ahead and do some weights and stuff and weight training. And then after that, I'll probably do some swings with the golf club and then go from there. I used to weigh 295 pounds, and I was at 43-inch waist. So then once I started working out, it's almost like a drug. It's something that became part of my lifestyle.
This is the first picture of him entering a national tournament with the American Junior Golf Association.
Originally from Maryland, from Washington, Maryland. How I really got into golf is my dad was pretty much always around it.
He and his father, and they won the father-son tournament.
College golf in Jackson State.
And here we are with him in the NCAA championship.
Try to do about 5 or 6 more years, just with a really good hard push at playing and doing what I'm doing. And hopefully I get the right sponsors or get the right opportunities. Breaks may happen.
He's number 1 in my heart. He's number 1 in his father's heart. I think he deserves to be number 1, hopefully on the big break.
I'm sitting there, I hit 2 shots. I mean, I hit one that goes, a bullet right under it. I mean, it's square. It's right in the middle of the target. The next shot, I hit it right over top, okay? And I mean, it was just 2 inches. I'm like, oh God. Pull the ball down, get ready to hit, and about that time, pow, my glass breaks. I look up, and Mark's done knocked it in.
Oh, thank you, Mark, my friend. Woo!
Woo, baby.
The panic of watching the ball go through Jeff's pane of glass just absolutely killed me. And I snap hooked it, and it went right through the middle of that play. It was like, oh.
Jeff, be happy, buddy. Oh, thank you, Mark.
And I had my head down, and I knew that, I got to make sure to get my glass busted just to kind of be in second. And I kind of geared down, and on my third try, I busted the glass, which is pretty sweet.
All right, John, good shot, babe.
It was pretty intimidating because all of a sudden, boom, boom, there was two glasses that broke real fast, and that kind of surprised me.
I thought it would take 10 shots to get dialed in, but 2 right away, and the third guy, I think, broke it in the 6th. When you're hitting those shots out there, some are going high, barely missing, hitting the edges, and you're wondering how many more good shots could I hit like this? It probably took me 20 swings to hit it, so I got out 4th, and I was, breathing a sigh of relief that I'm off the bubble.
I knew each shot was getting longer and longer and tougher, and you were getting more and more exhausted, and there was more and more pressure, and your face was getting more and more red, and you just don't want to be last. And as soon as I started hitting them, I had the trajectory perfect every time. I never left the trajectory. I just couldn't get the line. Finally, I hit it on, I think I was 5th.
Took me long enough.
I think it was Randy was hitting the frames off to the side, and it was like, I'm like, oh, this must be easy. So I hit about 5, 6 of them quick in a row, and a couple of mine went right dead over the top.
Oh, man, come on.
And then after about I don't know what it was, 10, 15 balls, it really started to get to be a struggle.
Mark, he hit so many balls, it was like he'd gone through 3 buckets, trying to finally get it through there.
I was part goofing, but a lot of that was, I was really dizzy when I went to turn away from that. I'm like, well, pratfall or pass out for real. So.
And I hit that wood frame 3 times, didn't break it. It was all I could to draw it back after that. Man, I hit that sumbitch 3 times.
I was pissed off I came in 9th place, I'll say that. I hit good golf shots. Middle of the pack would have been fine. To finish way down, I was bummed out.
Am I last? Nobody wants to finish last, and I did, but you know what? I can hit that shot all day long. It's just I didn't hit the glass, that's all. But, it's kind of embarrassing a little bit, but we'll live.
Jeff, you won. You had a little help there.
Oh, yeah. Jeff. Hey, I appreciate
Great
that.
shot.
Good shot.
Congratulations, babe.
Thank you.
Congratulations, and you win them all again.
All right.
I'll give you $5 for it right now.
Make it 20, you got a deal.
Fine, yeah.
Pull it out, pull it out. What'd you guys think of the challenge?
That's pretty sweet.
Yeah?
Yeah.
You ever worked on shots like that before?
No, I have not.
I really felt, I felt like I let down the other 8 or 9 guys because John knocked it through with his own shot, and about 2 seconds later, John's a good player, so I felt like I stole something away from him, but it was good fun though.
I played on the high school team, was competitive. I was always sort of the number 2 golfer on the team, never quite pushing it to the next level, because I don't think at that point in time I took it as a serious pursuit. I shifted the passion from sports or golf onto business. Started as a janitor and worked my way through the factory and eventually becoming a supervisor and working up that route. And then as I made somewhat of a success in business, that afforded me not only the luxury of money, but time to be able to pick the game up again.
As long as they all go in.
This is where I'm at right now, is saying, all right, I've got a good life, I've got a terrific living, great wife, kids. Do I really want to pursue this now? I'm 36 years old. If I do want to pursue it, I've got about a year or 2 to make a decision on it. If I make it through, then I'll have that decision to make. If I don't make it through, no harm done. I've got a great life.
All right, guys, great job on the first challenge. Pay attention to that board. Find out where your name is, study that, because that's the order in which you're going to be hitting for the next challenge, okay? All right, let's go. We're going to hit the road. Come on.
All right. Well, after we had gone through and had the first challenge. It's like, okay, what's in store next? What are they going to have us do?
Look at that. What is that? People are looking like, what the heck's going on? Holy Hannah. Baby. Oh, I'm at the top right now, baby. Yeah.
It's difficult, especially being a single dad of a little girl, because, you know, she's always wanting to play with the Barbies and the girly stuff and the princess stuff. How come Daddy has to hold the baby? She's starting to get into golf. She's got her own little, I bought her a little set of golf clubs for her birthday. We went out and went to the driving range. High five! That was awesome.
It just made me feel good because I felt like, wow, I raised my son. I know, you know, he's raised the right way now, and he, you know, he knows who comes first in his life.
It's pretty good. Keep doing that. The only way I would be able to play is if I took out a bank loan to pay the entry fee for the Golden Bear Tour, which is $17,500. If I play well the way I'm capable of and make it through Q School, I mean, I could be out on the PGA Tour next year making a lot of money, or struggling on the PGA Tour, which would be a good problem as well. Come back a little bit. Just a little.
I know it. You're working hard. I was dying out there. That last ball, I went down to pick up the red spots were going. Put that ball up. Get through it. I look back at you guys, I'm like, no way. Yes. There is a time limit on this.
I got in low as if I've stalled it.
I live off the knockdown, bro. You have to.
And we're playing 40-mile hours. I hit as high as I can.
That's why I get straight to the knockdown.
That's why you're here, not on the shots like
that.
Anthony's just doesn't hide anything, you know. I mean, he wears his heart on his sleeve. He tells it like it is.
Tell us how you really feel. In this corner, weighing in at 122 pounds, Southeast Detroit, Michigan.
He's not afraid. He's very confident, very cocky, which is good because that reflects the way he swings, too. Very confident, very cocky.
I work at a landscape nursery place. We do big jobs, all sorts of stuff. Like to sneak off by 5, but you know, some days it's 6, 7, but then it's usually my clubs and my clothes are in my car and I go straight to the golf course. Play till it gets dark, go eat somewhere, and that's my day. I was gonna go to law school. I took the LSAT, applied to one law school, didn't get accepted. Things work for a reason, so I want to play golf. Golfers know they have like a time frame to decide if they're good enough. That would be the ideal life, to play good golf courses. You know, 30 weeks of the year or whatever, 25 weeks of the year. I'd probably play every week. You know, I wouldn't even have a house. I'd just live at Best Western or something. I'm a golf nerd. I mean, that's what I like to do.
We all had to pile in the bus again with our clubs, had no idea where we're going. Suddenly it's kind of slow and we got a helicopter in the distance coming over and we're trying to peek out from underneath, you know, underneath the windshield to see what's going on, and there's a bunch of cars and trucks parked along the side.
Oh, I'm on top right now, baby. Yeah. All you gotta do is hit the curb.
And I look and I see this big red sign all the way down, and it's like a highway, an airport, you know, like a road. I'm like, what in the world? You know, I'm like, what is that?
Lordy, Lordy.
I'm gonna try to fly it and then back it up.
Yeah, just right on. We're gonna have to judge and win, right?
Look at it.
Free, right?
Sure he did.
Hey guys, how you doing? Hey. Let me tell you a little bit about this next challenge, okay? You see there's this club car right here, and 400 yards down that road is an identical club car. You're gonna tee it up here, and if you hit it, you get it. Now, we've made it a little bit easier for you because if you hit the red board that's behind the club car, or you go directly over the red board, you're gonna win it also. Remember we talked about the order in which you guys finished in the last challenge and how important that was. Well, Jeff is gonna be first, but because he won the mulligan, he's also gonna shoot 11 too. So he's gonna get an extra shot with his mulli, all right? So, but here's the thing. The first person that hits it, wins it. let's say, for example, Jeff tees it up first and he hits it, then sorry guys, that's all there is to it. So what do you think? Should we get going? All right, let's go. Tee it up.
I was the first one to hit. I didn't really like that. You know, I mean, there may be sometimes I want to hit first, but not in that situation.
You the man.
Oh!
Hey! Hang in there.
Hang on, ball.
Left kick.
Oh! That was a good pass.
Good pass. Man, that's
Well done.
Good
Well
pass.
done.
Come on, Lex. You're the man. Oh!
Oh, just out.
My adrenaline got the best of me, you know. I guess I wanted to do so well, and you had to hit it down there almost 400 yards. It was great to just get a chance to try to pull that shot off.
I don't know what's going to happen. I'm just going to
Get
try to
your
put a good
roll on.
swing on it. I felt good because I was, in my practice session, I was striping the ball. And I'm like, all right, this is good. And then got up there and just hit one of the ugliest shots I've ever hit in my life.
Snapper.
Come on, old man. Come on, Junior.
Turn over.
Go ahead.
No fair. Nobody caught.
Cut, baby.
Boy, I tell you what, this is swirling that through that soil fur.
Oh, that same farmer. We are really sorry.
The one thing everybody has, everyone is competitive. You want to see them do well, you know. You want to beat them, but you want to see them get right up next to you, and you just want to, you know, nick on by them, but you certainly don't want to see anybody go home.
I think I have a great chance. Who knows who's gonna win this thing? So, you know, we can just do as best as we can. It'll be fun.
Yes, sir. Come on, baby. Oh, it's got a chance.
The military makes you grow up a lot faster than you would out in the real world. My dad was a paratrooper, and that's what I wanted to be. So the first 6 years of my military career was jumping out of airplanes with the 82nd Airborne Division. The best job I ever had in the Army was being a drill sergeant for 3 years. I played golf for 10 years on a military golf team. I won the Armed Forces Championship. That's a golf highlight of mine within the military. This is the golf store that I work at. I have a great job. I love my job. I love where I'm at Golfcraft. I'm not in no hurry to leave. I believe his life is opportunities. This is an opportunity, I'm going to take it, and whatever that leads to is fine with me. That's okay.
All right, come on, Randy. Put that thing to use, man.
I saw everybody going left, so I just tried to hit a little draw, and it just stayed straight and hit the right side of the road. Bounced once. If it bounces the second time, it hits the road. If it kicks just a little bit left, the club car is mine.
Oh, baby, it's going by. Go!
I've been playing pretty good, so I just want to do good. That's about it.
Come on, Neat.
Forget about that circus job. Whoa, baby!
Come back. Cut.
Cut.
Come on, Win, get it. That's a good pass.
Good try.
Good ball, hand try.
Hitting it down the highway, I think that's something that everybody's always dreamed about. You know, I think in my younger days, we kind of did that in the street. We were doing that at a younger age, so that was pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Come on, Bully. Looking right here. Can I use it, Dad? All right. There you go. Cut. Back.
Yeah, let's hit a bunch more.
Try, man.
I thought one of us out of 10 guys and an extra shot, one of us would have got it. I figured. So if it's 400 yards, the one guy can probably carry it 300 yards, I bet. I thought for sure someone would get it. I was just hoping it would be me.
All right, guys, well, you did a great job today. Probably a little bit tired. So we just think you should go back to the bunkhouse, take a rest. We'll get ready for the next show, and Rick will be with us. We have some new skills challenges for you, and remember, one of you guys is going home. Okay? All right, well, we'll see you soon.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you. All right.
Going home.
Going home.
Wow, someone's going home. That's tough, because today we kind of knew it was a gimme. It was a freebie. We were exposed to the types of challenges we were going to see. I mean, I had my blood pumping a little bit when that horn went off today. It was kind of like being on the first tee in your first professional event. You're real scared and nervous, and everything feels like rubber. You don't know where anything's going. I'd imagine it's going to be real similar to that, because now we know someone's going home. After college, I got a great job working for a consulting firm in Greenwich, Connecticut. And the pay was great, the people were great. There were young people out of college like myself. I learned a lot. Business experience was amazing. But I couldn't stand being inside all day. It drove me nuts.
Really smooth, that was perfect.
It's been a long road, and it's not been easy. I mean, I live week to week, paycheck to paycheck. Every day I wake up, it's worth it. Every day I wake up happy, it's absolutely worth it. Even though I'm living on nothing, fumes, I'm just getting by, it's still great.
Here we are, back to our humble. All right.
Awesome, bro.
Our humble commode.
Remember, you gotta feed 10. That ain't easy.
What was great is that you was sitting there, I mean, you was just tired, and you grabbed that one and you chunked it.
Oh, I missed the ball. I was that far behind. The ball didn't even move.
Today, everybody knew that once we heard the news that nobody was going to be eliminated, it was real friendly. Everybody was at ease, I think. And when the next challenge comes up, whatever it is, I think things might quiet down a little bit.
Whoa, going fishing?
Fishing down the street.
Salud.
Cheers. Let's have a fun week. Hopefully it's longer.
Hey, girls, come fix your own.
Somebody's got to lose, but we're certainly not pulling against them. We know somebody's going to have to be last, and we're all praying it isn't us.
It's not going to be me. I mean, I'm telling you right now, I am not going to be the first one to go. If I am, I'll eat these words, but I'm telling you, I am not going. I didn't come up here to be the first one to leave.
If I eat this, will I get as big as him? You think? Gotta eat double. Twice. I'm working on it.
Seeing somebody gonna go, it's gonna be hard, pretty bad. I think that's where the reality is gonna kick in. When that guy takes that long walk, then the game's on.
That was sweet there.
Oh, baby.
Don't know how good that is.
Bro.
Yeah, go ahead.
He's all serious? He's in his zone.
The laughter, the fun, it's still more than likely it's going to be fun, but the attitude's going to change because it's getting down to the wire. It's serious because someone's going home. The laughing and the joking, to me, it comes to an end. Today was fun, entertaining, but it's time for it to come to an end because this is serious business, and it's serious to me.
Everybody's goal is not be the first guy to go home.
Next time on The Big Break, it's for real.
What in the world have we gotten into here?
You can see a little fear in some of the guys.
Competitors face their first elimination challenge, and someone is sent packing.
The rule of the game here is get through to the next round.
I'm pretty sure it's going to get pretty hectic here.
I have to put my game face on.
Who will it be?
Don't want to be the first guy gone. Don't want to be the first guy gone.
You have no idea what's going to happen next, none.
In all fairways and greens, folks. A lot of it's dirty underwear, roommates. Charlie!